The Galactic Combat Academy was always loud on the first day. Students from different planets, species, and systems arrived wearing shiny uniforms and proud faces. Most of them were taller, stronger, or faster than humans. Some had wings. Others had scales. They came from warrior races, known for winning wars and crushing enemies. No one noticed the human girl when she arrived. She wore the same training uniform as the others, but her body was small, her steps quiet. She had no weapons, no armor, no muscles to show off. Her black hair was tied back, and her eyes stayed low. She didn't speak unless someone asked her a question. Even then, her answers were short. Some students laughed when they saw her. A group of Gornak twins, thick-skinned and twice her size, pointed and whispered, "Is that a real fighter?" One said. "She looks like a child." The other chuckled. Even the instructor, Commander Rexel, raised an eyebrow when he checked the list. "A human girl. In this class," he muttered. But she was on the list, so she stayed. The combat class was held in a large dome, with a ring in the center. This was where students trained hand to hand. No weapons, only strength, skill, and speed. The first test was sparring. Everyone had to fight once. No real injuries allowed, but bruises and pain were common. The Gornak twins went first and smashed through their opponents like machines. The crowd cheered. A Circean girl with 4 arms danced around her opponent and dropped him in seconds. Insect-like warrior moved fast, dodging every hit before striking back with a sharp elbow. Then came the final match of the day. Commander Rexel looked down at his list. "Rhea!" he called. "You're up." The human girl stood slowly. Her movements were calm. She walked to the center ring. Her opponent stepped forward. A Krazok male, 7 feet tall, built like a tank, covered in bone armor. His name was Borin, and he was the top student from last year. He grinned, showing his sharp teeth. "She's going to die," someone whispered. "She won't last 5 seconds," said another. Even the instructors looked worried. "Begin!" Rexel shouted. Borin charged. It happened so fast that most people didn't understand what they saw. Rhea didn't move at first. She just watched. When Borin got close and raised his heavy arm to strike, she stepped aside. Just one step. Smooth. Clean. No wasted motion. She grabbed his wrist, twisted, and used his own weight to flip him over her shoulder. He slammed into the ground. Before he could rise, she moved again. One strike to the neck, not enough to kill, but enough to shut his body down for a few seconds. Borin dropped flat. The room went silent. No one moved. No one cheered. No one spoke. Even Rexel stared with wide eyes. She turned and walked back to the bench without saying a word. A full minute passed before someone whispered, "Did she just beat Borin?" She dropped him like nothing. The whispers grew louder. Borin sat up, coughing, looking shocked and confused. What did she do?" "She used pressure points," an instructor said. "But that was advanced. Very advanced." Commander Rexel checked his tablet again. Rhea's file was short. No past school, no combat record. Just a name and a transfer code. Who trained her? He muttered. No one knew. After class, some students tried to talk to her. One asked, "Where did you learn that?" She only shrugged. "My dad taught me." That was all she said. Later that night, in the dark dorm room, Rhea sat alone on her bed. She stared at her hands, then slowly closed them into fists. Her face showed no pride, no joy. She wasn't trying to win. She was just trying to stay hidden. But now, They had seen her, and everything would change. The next morning, the combat dome was quieter than usual. Students trained, but their eyes kept drifting toward one corner. Toward her, Rhea sat alone, stretching silently, not looking at anyone. No one laughed now. The Gornek twins didn't joke. The Circean girl didn't brag. Even Borin, the apex warrior she had dropped in one move, avoided eye contact. He still had a mark on his neck where she had struck. He had watched the replay of the fight 10 times, but still didn't understand how he lost. She moved like she knew every move I'd make, he muttered to a friend. Maybe she's enhanced, the friend whispered. Maybe she's not even human. That word, not human, began to spread. Some students started calling her the ghost. Others called her the weapon. No one dared to call her by her real name, Rhea. She ignored them all. She came to class, did the drills, then left. No talking, no smiling, always quiet, always alone. But someone was watching. His name was Eli. He was a first-year tech student, human, like her, not a fighter, more interested in machines than muscles. But he had seen something in her that the others missed. She wasn't proud of what she did in the ring. She didn't stand tall like a winner. She looked tired. He watched her during lunch. She sat in the far corner of the mess hall, eating plain food, never wasting a bite. She always sat with her back to the wall, always watching the door. Like a soldier in enemy territory, Eli decided to try. He walked over with his tray and sat across from her. She didn't look up. "Hey," he said quietly. She said nothing. "I'm Eli. You're Rhea, right?" Still nothing. "I saw the fight yesterday. That was really something." She finally looked at him. Her eyes were sharp, but not angry. "You shouldn't be here," she said softly. "Why not?" "People will start asking questions about you too." Eli smiled a little. "Let them ask. I've got nothing to hide." She looked at him for a long second, then went back to eating. That was the end of that talk. But she didn't tell him to leave. For Eli, that was a start. That night, in the dorms, some of the alien students talked in hushed voices. "She's dangerous. She shouldn't be here. We should report her." But one of the older cadets shook his head. "She didn't break any rules. She fought. She won. That's the academy way." Still, the fear was growing, not just among students. The instructors were watching too. Commander Rexel pulled up her file again. It was still empty. No past records. No training logs. Just a transfer code with no origin. That wasn't normal. He sent a message to Central Command, requesting full file on student, Rhea, human female, possible special background, possible enhanced training. The reply came back almost instantly. Access denied. That was strange. He tried again using his highest clearance. Access denied. This file is locked. Under Echo Protocol. Rexel leaned back in his chair, frowning. Echo Protocol. He had only heard of it once. A black-level program, hidden from most. Rumors said it involved secret human experiments during the Galactic War. Super soldiers. Children trained as weapons. But that project was shut down, wasn't it? His eyes narrowed. "What are you?" he whispered. In her room, Rhea lay awake. She didn't sleep much. Sleep brought dreams. And her dreams were not safe. She saw flashes of white rooms, cold lights, voices without faces, pain, training, commands, numbers. She heard them again now. Rhea 09, target approaching. Eliminate, no hesitation. She sat up quickly, sweat on her face. Her hands were shaking. She stared at her reflection in the window. "I'm not a number anymore," she whispered. "I'm not a weapon." But deep inside, something was still locked. And someone, somewhere, still had the key. And they were looking for her. The academy buzzed with energy. Everyone was still talking about the human girl who dropped the strongest student in one move. Whispers followed Rhea wherever she went. Some were scared of her. Some were curious. A few wanted to challenge her, but most just watched from a distance. Borin, the apex warrior, was not watching quietly. He was furious. He had never lost before. His people, the Krezok, were known for power and pride. Being beaten by a small, quiet human girl had broken something inside him. His friends tried to calm him. "Let it go, Borin," one said. "It was just a sparring match. She embarrassed me," he growled. "She made me look weak. I won't let that stand. She's fast. Smarter than she looks," another added. "Be careful." "I don't care what she is," Borin snapped. "Next time, I'll end it before she even moves." He walked straight to Commander Rexel's office and demanded a rematch. But not just any rematch, an official challenge. Rexel looked at him carefully. "Boran, this isn't a game. What happened in the ring was legal. She won. End of story. I want a full combat challenge," Boran said. "No rules. No time limit. First to surrender or be knocked out." Rexel frowned. "That's not allowed for first-year cadets." "Make it happen," Boran said. "Unless you're afraid of what she might do again." The commander sighed and opened the academy code. Technically, students could request a full combat challenge with approval from the student and instructors. If both sides agreed, it could happen. He sent a message to Rhea. Later that day, in the training room, she stood in front of him, silent as always. "You've been challenged," Rexel said. "Do you accept?" Rhea didn't speak for a long time. Then finally she asked, "Can I say no?" "Yes," Rexel said. "But if you refuse, people will say you're afraid." She looked down at her hands, the same hands that once broke bones without trying. The same hands that had done things she couldn't forget. "I accept," she said. The next day, the arena was packed. Students filled the seats. Instructors lined the walls. The energy in the air felt thick and dangerous. This was not just a fight. This was something more. Eli sat near the front, watching nervously. He didn't like this. Not because he thought she would lose, but because he knew she didn't want to fight. Borin stepped into the ring first, wearing light armor and gloves that sparked with energy. He looked confident, angry, ready. Rhea walked in second. No armor, no gloves, just her uniform. Night had fallen on the academy. Most students were asleep in their dorms. The halls were quiet. The stars above the dome flickered like tiny lights in the sky. But Rhea was not asleep. She sat on her bed, staring at the wall. Her hands were clenched. Her mind was full of noise. Memories kept returning. Memories she didn't want. White rooms, cold lights, voices giving orders, training drills that never ended. And the pain, always the pain. She tried to push the thoughts away, but something felt different now. Ever since the challenge match, she could feel it. Someone was watching her. Not just the students. Not just the instructors. Someone else. Far away, but close enough to see. In another part of the galaxy, inside a dark control room, a man sat in front of a glowing screen. His face was hard, his uniform clean. He wore a badge with the mark of Earth's hidden defense program. Subject Rhea 09 located. The screen read. Live video from the academy filled the room. "She's active," the man said. A voice behind him replied, "Is the program still stable? She hasn't used her full strength yet, but it's waking up. What about the memories?" "They're returning, slowly." The man looked at the screen again. Rhea's face was calm. But he knew better. He had helped design her training. She was the best of them all, he whispered. She survived what the others couldn't. Back at the academy, Rhea walked through the halls, her steps light and silent. She needed space, air. She passed the sleeping quarters, the mess hall, the training rooms, until she reached the back courtyard. The stars above were clearer here. The cold air helped her breathe. She closed her eyes. Then she heard it, a sound, small, sharp, like metal clicking. She turned quickly. A shadow moved near the fence. It wasn't a student. Too fast, too quiet. She crouched low, scanning the dark. Then a voice spoke behind her. "Still awake, I see." She spun around. It was Commander Rexel. "I couldn't sleep," she said. "Neither could I," he replied. He stepped closer, looking at her with careful eyes. "You fought well today," he said. She nodded. "But you didn't use everything," he added. She froze. He watched her closely. "I've seen fighters from every species. I've trained warriors with claws, horns, wings, but I've never seen anything like you." She didn't answer. "I tried to access your file," he said. "It's locked. Echo Protocol. I don't know what that means, but I know one thing. Someone powerful is hiding something." She looked at him. Her voice was quiet. "I didn't choose this." "I believe you," Rexel said. They stood in silence. "Do you want me to make the questions stop?" he asked. "I can transfer you to another unit, somewhere quiet." She shook her head. "I'm tired of running." Rexel nodded. "Then stay sharp. Because if someone's watching you, they might not be watching alone." That night, as Rhea returned to her room, a small red light blinked from the wall across the courtyard. A drone, almost invisible, flew back into the sky. In the dark control room, the man smiled. "She's still in control," he said. "But for how long?" Behind him, another screen lit up. "Order received. Prepare to extract subject." The door behind him opened. A woman in a black uniform entered. "Do we move in now?" she asked. "Not yet," the man said. "Let her think she's safe." He looked at the screen one last time. "We trained her to survive anything, but we didn't teach her how to live." Back at the academy, Rhea finally closed her eyes. But in her sleep, the voice returned. The sun rose over the academy, but the sky looked darker than usual. Rhea stood at the edge of the training field, watching the students warm up. Her eyes moved slowly from one face to another. They were smiling, laughing, practicing new moves. She didn't smile. She couldn't. Last night's voice still echoed in her mind. Rhea 09. "You are not done." She had heard that voice before, many times. During the darkest years of her life, the voice belonged to the man in charge of the secret human program, the one who made her what she was. She thought she had escaped it all, but now she knew the truth. They had found her again. Eli walked up beside her, holding 2 protein bars. He handed one to her. "You didn't eat dinner," he said. She nodded and took it. "Another nightmare." She gave a small nod again. He sat down beside her. "You can talk to me, you know. I don't care what they say. I've seen who you really are." "You don't know me, Eli," she said quietly. "Not the real me." "Then tell me." She looked at him, unsure. But for some reason, the words started coming out. "I wasn't born a soldier," she said, "but I was made into one, taken when I was 5, trained every day. No games, no books, just drills, pain, and silence." Eli stayed still, listening. "They called me Rhea 09. I was part of a secret project. There were others too, 12 of us. Only 3 survived. I was the strongest." She paused. "But they didn't treat us like people. We were tools, weapons, meant to fight wars humans were too scared to face." What happened to the others? Eli asked gently. They died, she whispered. Some in training, some during escape. You escaped. She nodded. One night I broke the walls, shut down the lab, and ran. I thought I had left it behind. I changed my name, hid among normal people, but the code they put in me, it never left. Code? Eli asked. She rolled up her sleeve and pointed to a faint blue line under her skin. They called it the blood code. Nanotech in my veins. It makes me faster, stronger, smarter. I heal quickly. I can predict movements. But it also listens. Eli stared. Listens? They can track me through it. Control parts of my brain if they want to. I fought the system for years. Shut it down piece by piece. But I think it's waking up again. She looked up at the sky. They're coming. I can feel it. Suddenly, alarms began to blare across the academy. All students report to emergency. Stations! Unidentified ship entering restricted airspace. Eli jumped to his feet. What is it? Rhea stood slowly. Them. High above, a black stealth cruiser appeared through the clouds. It didn't bear any flag. No signal. No call sign. But Rhea recognized the shape. It was a retrieval unit, the same kind used by the program to collect escaped assets. Inside the control tower, Commander Rexel stared at the incoming ship. No warning, no contact. His officer said, Should we engage? Not yet, Rexel said. Let's see what they want. The screen lit up with a single message. Subject Rhea 09 will come quietly. Rexel's eyes narrowed. Not a chance. Back on the ground, Rhea began walking toward the landing pad. Eli grabbed her arm. What are you doing? They won't stop, Eli. If I don't go, they'll hurt others. So you're just going to give up? No, she said, turning to face him. I'm going to finish it. She opened her palm and pressed her fingers together in a strange pattern. A light shimmered under her skin. Her eyes glowed faintly blue. What did you just do? Eli asked. I unlocked the rest of the code, she whispered. If they want a weapon, they'll get one. The black cruiser landed with a heavy thud. Dust and wind flew across the academy grounds. Every student stood frozen, watching the ship as its doors opened slowly. Inside, shadows moved. Tall, armored figures with no names, no faces, no mercy. They were called the Retrieval Team, and they had only one job: bring Rhea 09 back, alive or dead. Rhea walked toward them without fear. Her body felt light, powerful, different. The code inside her was no longer sleeping. It was fully awake now. Her vision was sharper, her hearing stronger. She could hear their footsteps inside the ship, count their heartbeats, even feel the hum of the weapons they carried. Eli followed behind her, afraid but refusing to leave her side. Rhea, he said, voice shaking. You don't have to do this alone. She stopped and looked at him. I was always alone, she said. But not anymore. The first figure stepped out of the ship. He wore black armor with red lines, and his face was hidden behind a visor. His voice was cold. Subject Rhea 09. You are ordered to return for reprogramming. She didn't move. I'm not yours anymore. You don't have a choice. Yes, I do. He raised his hand, signaling the team to surround her. 6 soldiers moved in a circle, weapons pointed, energy rifles aimed at her head and chest. They were fast, trained, emotionless. But she was faster. In a blink, Rhea leapt into the air. Her foot slammed into the first soldier's helmet, cracking it like glass. She spun mid-air, kicking the rifle out of another's hands before landing on both feet. Her movements were clean, smooth, perfect. The crowd of students gasped. Boren, watching from a distance, whispered. That's not combat training. That's war. The retrieval team responded quickly. 2 fired their rifles. Rhea ducked, rolled forward, and grabbed a steel rod from the ground. She moved like lightning, slamming it into one soldier's chest plate, bending the armor inward. One by one, she took them down. But they were just the first wave. From the ship, more soldiers rushed out. 10, then 20, surrounding her again. Commander Rexel finally gave the order. All combat instructors to the field. Protect the students. He turned to his officers. Do not let them take her. She's not a weapon anymore. She's one of us. Explosions burst across the training yard. Smoke filled the air. Lights flashed red. Eli was pulled back by another student as the fighting grew wild, but he kept his eyes on Rhea. In the middle of the chaos, she stood tall. Her hair blew in the wind, her eyes glowing brighter now. The code inside her had synced fully with her body. For the first time, she wasn't afraid of it. She embraced it. She punched the ground. A shockwave exploded from her fist, sending 5 enemies flying back. The students had never seen anything like it. Even the retrieval soldiers hesitated. From inside the ship, the commander of the unit stepped out. The academy was quiet now. Smoke from the battle had cleared. The sun rose slowly behind the hills, shining soft light over broken walls and burned grass. The students were still awake, talking in small groups, cleaning up the field. Everyone felt changed, but all eyes were on Rhea. She stood near the edge of the training yard, her back straight, her face calm. Her hands were still marked with the glow from the fight. The power inside her was now silent, but awake. Eli walked to her side, holding a jacket. She had burns on her arms and dirt on her face, but she looked stronger than ever. You okay? He asked. Rhea nodded. Tired, but okay. They left, he said. The black ship, no trace. They knew they lost. They'll be back, she replied. They don't give up so easily. Commander Rexel approached them. His uniform was ripped, and a bandage covered one arm, but his eyes were proud. You saved everyone, he said. Rhea shook her head. I didn't do it alone, he smiled. That's what makes you different. She looked out at the students. Many of them still watched her with wide eyes. Some with fear, others with respect. They're scared of me, she said quietly. They're not scared, Rexel answered. They're unsure, but that will change. Rhea turned to face him. I want to stay, not to fight, not to train as a weapon, but to help, to protect others. You've already started, he said. Later that day, the academy gathered in the main hall. Students, instructors, and even generals from nearby posts came to see the girl who had defeated the apex warrior, and then a full retrieval team. Rhea stepped onto the stage. She didn't like speaking in front of crowds, but this time, she had something to say. When I first came here, she began, I was trying to hide. Her voice was soft but clear. I thought I could disappear in the crowd, that no one would notice me, but you did. You laughed, you talked, you challenged me. Some students smiled. A few looked embarrassed. And I'm glad you did, she said, because I remembered something. I remembered that I'm not just a number, not a machine. I'm human. She looked around the room. Being human doesn't mean being the strongest. It means making choices, feeling pain, standing up when you're scared, helping others even when it's hard. Eli smiled from the crowd. Boren gave a nod of approval. I was made to win wars, she continued. But now, I want to protect peace. If they come for me again, I'll be ready. But this time I won't run. I won't hide. She stepped down from the stage. The room was silent for a moment. Then applause exploded from every corner. Cheers echoed through the hall. For the first time, Rhea felt something warm in her chest. She felt accepted. In the weeks that followed, things changed at the academy. Rhea joined group training, not just to learn, but to teach. She helped others grow stronger, faster, and braver. She showed them how to fight with skill, not anger, how to think like a warrior, but act with heart. She and Eli trained together often. He was still slower, still clumsy, but he never gave up. That was what she liked about him. One night, they sat under the stars again, just like the first week. "Do you think they're watching?" Eli asked. Rhea looked up. "Probably. But they can watch all they want. I'm not theirs." "What will you do when they come again?" She smiled slightly. "I'll remind them what it means to be human." He leaned back. "You're not like anyone I've ever met. I'm not like anyone," she said softly. "But maybe that's a good thing." And so the quiet girl, the one they laughed at, the one they tried to control, became a legend, not just across the academy, but across the galaxy. Not because she fought, but because she chose her own path. Because she became more than a weapon. She became a symbol, a human,